from a guy who took a $160,000 taxpayer-funded trip to a private villa for which there was no security reason that he couldn't pay for his own room. He took a $6,000 a night vacation in London, 2 weeks in Costa Rica in the middle of the summer, surfing in Tofino on Truth and Reconciliation Day at taxpayers' expense, and a guilty verdict for staying at Billionaire Island. Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister is out of touch and Canadians are out of money. When will he stop with these vacations and start working for the people in this country?
We've known for years that Justin Trudeau and his Liberal colleagues really don't care for much of those little things known as ethics. We've lost count of how many times Justin Trudeau himself has violated ethics rules on Parliament Hill. Hello, I'm Adrienne BATRA. With me is Brian Lilley. Brian, the latest example, I mean, it all kind of ties in together, but let's go with the latest example of a CBC report that Justin Trudeau took a very expensive, taxpayer expensive paid trip to Jamaica with a donor from a longtime family friend and a donor to the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation. So fast forward then to Dominic LeBlanc, cabinet minister in the Trudeau government, his sister-in-law becoming the interim ethics commissioner. I know this is all jumbled together. Let's unwind some of it.
Well, the question is, they keep saying the ethics commissioner signed off on this. Well, which ethics commissioner? The sister-in-law of Dominic LeBlanc, who was Justin Trudeau's babysitter when he was a kid and who's now his political fixer? Is she the one that signed off on Trudeau going on this very expensive vacation to Jamaica? Now, I'm not just talking about the $160,000 that it cost taxpayers in terms of security. That's just the security cost, by the way. I don't think we have the full cost of what all his staff staying down the street in a cheap or cheaper resort cost. What was the cost of having the air crew on standby? Because that always happens. And I remember on one of his trips, those figures came out much later and they were astonishing. Okay, so there's all of that going on. You've got who signed off on it. Was it Dominic LeBlanc's sister-in-law? And then this week, the Conservatives have been trying to get the PM to answer this question. These villas go for $9,000 a night where you stayed. Who paid for that $9,000 a night? Was it us? Was it the taxpayer? Was it this donor who's, yeah, sure, he's a family friend, but $9,000 a night for 9 nights, that's $81,000. That's a heck of a big present for anybody to give. And I think there's going to be ethics questions about that, even if they are a family friend.
Timing is often everything in the world of politics. And in the last few weeks, of course, there has been a lot of hue and cry about the interim ethics commissioner, Martine Richard, who had been working in the office for many, many years, to be sure. But her appointment as the interim head of the commission really raised some questions, because the story breaks about Trudeau's Jamaica trip, very expensive Jamaica trip, that was cleared. And then all of a sudden we hear that Ms. Richard is no longer going to be the interim ethics commissioner. It all happened within a very short period of time, within days of one another. So the timing is suspect, to be sure, because we're unclear about who actually cleared this trip. But I also find it interesting that a lot of the language that was being used by Trudeau's staff at the time of this trip, Brian, that CBC did report, was questioning the Prime Minister himself. Why now? Canadians are sky high inflation. Canadians can't afford their own vacations. Why does he keep putting himself into these sort of situations where he's going to get criticized for it? Are there cracks starting to show finally that even those around Justin Trudeau are wondering, what the hell are you doing?
I mean, perhaps there's just this pattern of being out of touch. You're right. Canadians are feeling the pinch. You've got workers striking on the lawn of Parliament Hill saying that inflation is eating away at their incomes, and that's something that, whether you agree with them striking or not, that's something that all of us can relate to, because inflation has been so high. Our purchasing power is not the same as it was a year or 2 years ago, and so that's eating away at us. The PM, meanwhile, took a big $10,000+ raise on April 1st, while telling these striking workers, no, you can't have your raise. And he takes these vacations, and they're never simple vacations. Stephen Harper didn't do this when he was prime minister. He went to the cottage at Harrington Lake. He went to home in Calgary. I think one time he took his son to New York for a baseball game. None of those things cost what Trudeau's vacations cost. You go back to Jean Chrétien, another longtime prime minister. Chrétien would go water skiing at his cottage. He would do things like that. And when he did do vacations, it wasn't lavish ones like this. With Trudeau, it's always massive, it's lavish. There are questions about who he's vacationing with. His defense on the Aga Khan was, well, he's an old family friend. The ethics commissioner said, no, that's not exactly true. You barely know him. Now, I think Peter Green, the gentleman whose villa he was staying at in Jamaica, there is an actual connection, but it still raises questions about the cost, about the closeness of all of this. And then we bring it back to the Trudeau Foundation, where Green is a donor, and all these things add up or pile up, and you're saying, where does the Trudeau Foundation begin and the government end, or vice versa? Trudeau says there's no intersection between him and the Trudeau Foundation. Well, that's not the way normal people speak. Let me put it to you this way. There are too many connections between Justin Trudeau, his government, and the Trudeau Foundation for most Canadians to be comfortable.
Well, and as the Trudeau government is under an incredible amount of scrutiny, justifiably so, with respect to the Chinese interference in our last two federal elections, we just saw the entire Trudeau Foundation board resign from taking hundreds of thousands of dollars in what is now questionable donations from Chinese billionaires. So there is a lot of crossover. There is a lot of, shall we say, intersectionality when it comes to these issues. Brian, last word, however, on all of this. Is there any chance of us finding out who actually did clear Justin Trudeau for this trip in December, for one thing? And secondly, the ongoing conflicts, shall we, with respect to the Trudeau Foundation, because this keeps popping up, even with this story and others. Is the opposition party able to get any answers, and can Canadians have any comfort knowing that nothing untoward is going on?
Okay, so first off, on who signed off, eventually that will come out, whether it's from us at The Sun or elsewhere at Post Media or another media organization. One of us will get that information at some point in the next month or so. You can bank on that. As for the Trudeau Foundation, no, I don't think we will get that level of comfort. Look, the whole board resigned, but 3 of them stayed on. 3 old guard members. What was the reporting from La Presse? That the old guard didn't want an audit of this donation. The new ones did. The people who were there at the time said, we don't want you looking into this. I don't think that the Trudeau Foundation is what it should be. I don't think that most Canadians would notice if it disappeared tomorrow. And I've advocated for that. They should just pack up their tent, hand back the $125 million we gave them, and call it a day. They're not producing the type of research that they were set up to do. But if they're going to stick around, we need to extricate the Trudeau family from the governance of this foundation. They're still heavily involved. Justin Trudeau's sister was one of the board members who did resign, Sarah Coyne. And then we also need to extricate the federal government. Right now, the Trudeau family picks 3 members. That's the governing body that chooses the board. The industry minister picks 6 members. So, don't tell me that there's no intersection. Don't tell me there's no connections. There's plenty. There's too many. Either shut this thing down or make it truly independent. But the current situation is untenable.
And on it goes with our ethically challenged prime minister, with very few answers forthcoming. Log on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think, and go to theTorontoSun.com. Hit that subscribe button. You're going to find content and story coverage you will not find anywhere else.